You were the first one I saw, sir, so you're coming up first. I was going to go alphabetically, and then you changed my order. Following him up to meet last time, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robert Carradine. And finally, a man who I have haunted the life of for the last 24 hours, Mr. Curtis Armstrong! How many of you guys were at the talent show last night? Nobody was at the talent show? I know somebody was there because I was there. But two of these gentlemen, they'll just flick them on and then you'll be live.
What do you do?
There's a switch test as such. You should be on that. Now you should be
Hello. You hear me?
Okay, you guys been thank you for being
so I can talk.
Thank you guys for being here. Let's just go back to the beginning. This movie hits in 1984. I am in the 6th grade.
Okay.
Do the math. But does this process for you, does it start, how much earlier does this process start for you?
Well, technically, I think it goes back to the flood, if you really want to start.
Okay, yeah, well, there were 2 of each animal,
But,
40 days, 40
But
days.
if we're just doing it based on your experience in 6th grade, it actually would start when, Bobby?
1893.
1893.
The vintage year.
It was in 1893 that the English operetta
Okay, knock that
composer
shit off. Let's just go.
The whole thing just
Gilbert and Sullivan wrote the first draft of Revenge of the Nerds. Not people know that. Not a lot of people know that. And we named Gilbert in the film after Sullivan. After Sullivan, which makes no sense. Anything
This
else
is the
you
next
need to
45
know?
minutes of your life, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
These two are so boring, I'm telling you right now. I deal with this every time.
I feel like this is a continuation of what's been happening out on the floor.
I don't know what you mean by that.
We don't know. Yeah, what does he mean by that?
I don't know.
On the floor.
Continuing from the
Whatever
floor.
we do on the floor. Whatever we do on the floor
Stays on the floor.
because no one picks up after us here.
I'm not saying anything.
No,
I'm not looking for North and all.
No, actually, we're very good about cleaning up after ourselves, aren't we, Don?
Yes, we're very good about cleaning up after ourselves.
But so when do you get brought onto the project known as Revenge of the Nerds, released in 1984 Anno Domini?
Well, it would have been about 3 months before the film actually got shot. I went in for a meeting with the director, Jeff Kanew. I had hair down to the middle of my back, and I think I came in on my motorcycle, and I did not want to be in a movie called Revenge of the Nerds. But I thought, what the heck, I'll go meet the guy, right? Well, we pretty much hated each other on site, and then about a month later, I got a phone call, they want you to come in and audition. I'm thinking, really? And they're like, yeah, you should go in, it's a studio picture. So I went out, I got my haircut in the regular boy's haircut, and I bought the glasses from an optometrist in Sherman Oaks. I wasn't going to buy them because all the glasses that I had were so expensive. I said, I'm playing a nerd. And he goes, oh, you're playing a nerd? And I'm like, shh.
Quiet, man.
He went in the back of the room and he came out with a shoebox full of engineering glasses, which is exactly what a nerd would wear. So I put on the glasses, I went to the audition, and they poked their head out the door, they looked this way, they looked that way. They just go back in the room. They do it another couple of times, and finally I go, hey, what's going on? I'm here for the meeting. And they go, oh my, Bobby? And I said, yeah. They didn't even recognize me. And that's how I got it.
Did you guys at all overlap in the audition process, or did you not meet each other until set?
I met Curtis on the set. I've never met this guy. What's your name?
My name's Donald Gibb. I was Ogre in the movie. Remember me, Bobby? Remember me? Remember I carried your luggage and stuff?
Yeah.
I carried your luggage, made you get up in the morning.
No, he remembered you.
He doesn't. Do you remember me in the movie?
Yeah, you were the,
Yeah, it was the Ogre. The Ogre character. They act like they don't know me, but
yeah. Well, there were 4 of them, so.
Right, I know exactly, man.
Wait, 4? There are 4?
Well, since I became a big star from the movie, I don't talk to him very much.
Right, yeah.
And but you all had very different paths too, between professional football and sport, working with John Wayne, if I read that correctly.
Yes, you did. Also 20 years as a racing driver.
And then, you drove in a race at Daytona.
Yes, I did, in a Daytona.
And then, you coming from Berkeley, like, all of these things come to
Michigan, not California.
It's Berkeley. I'm counting.
I'm sorry. Carry on. I just want to make sure there's no confusion.
No, good
that
idea.
I came from a cool place.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. All right.
But you're making this movie. If you're going to rank 80s movies, this kind of one thing that defines the decade. And I'm not afraid to say it.
Wait a minute. You didn't ask me how I got
thank
Well,
you,
let's
guys.
answer you, sir. I told you I have haunted this man for the last 24 hours.
I'm not going to tell you. Carry on.
Please, go ahead.
Does anybody have a booster chair for Curtis?
I don't need a booster chair, Don. Damn it. I'm
Sometimes he
fine.
gets offended, sometimes he doesn't.
No, I don't need a booster chair.
He wants to be a big boy.
Don always thinks I need a booster chair because I'm small. But I'm an average height for someone of my age and weight.
And your people. And your people.
Yeah.
Whatever your people.
Yes.
Let's talk about how you got to this film.
Oh.
Now, I'm asking you now, officially.
Okay. All right. Okay. I got into the film because I had done a movie called Risky Business. And the director of that film, the director of Nerds, Jeff Kanew, was a fan of that movie. And so he thought it would be fun to cast me in Nerds, but as Gilbert, as the part Anthony Edwards played. And so I went in and read for that, and I didn't get it. And then they called back later and asked if I would consider taking the role of another nerd instead of Gilbert. And I went, well, and I'm thinking, well, there's Takashi, and that's not going to happen. And there's Larry B's part, there's Lamar Luttrell, and I don't see myself in that. And Wormser, I'm too old. And so I was figuring it was either Poindexter or Booger. And so I said to my agent, I said, okay, I'm in New York then. And I said, all right, I said, I'll tell you what, if they offer me Poindexter, I'll take it. But I'm a classically trained actor. I have a stage career. I don't need this job. I will take Poindexter, but if they offer me Booger, I'm not going to take it. I'm going to turn it down. Okay. So he called them up, and then he called me back, and he said, well, I talked to them. They offered you Booger. And I said, okay.
Simple enough. Remember that we are here for you guys. So if you have questions, I want you to come right here to my left, your
But
right, and we'll get you.
we're not here for answering life questions.
Okay.
If you have personal
Wait a minute. The Ogre does. Because I have a lot of life experience, and they offered me the role of Booger, and I turned it down, so he got it.
That's
So any
not
of you
how I
want
remember
sexual
it.
information or life coaching, you always come to the Ogre. My family does.
Well, I have to admit, when we were shooting the film in Tucson, I came to Don a number of times with issues, like where I could store some. And
Wait, you gotta use my favorite word in the English language. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I think actually the statute of limitations of inquiring where I could do that
Fair enough.
may have lapsed.
Fair enough.
But pretend I didn't say that, just in case.
Oh my God.
Listen, you can talk about church. I can't at this point. But how did you get involved in all of this madness?
Oh my God.
My story isn't crazy. So, they offered me the role of Booger, and I turned it down, of course, because I was a trained
not true.
I was a classically trained actor in New York.
Don, that's my story. You're repeating my story.
Oh,
I think you got your script.
You guys didn't know I was a why are you laughing? That bothers me. Classically trained actor, and you guys all laugh? That's hilarious.
Okay.
You should have seen his Falstaff.
I was a stunt man, and they brought me in there. They were looking for an ogre. I was a stunt man. My buddy says, "Hey, go in there." And so I read for him the first time. They called me back, and my buddy says, "You need to shave your beard because they think you're too old." So I ran down their ship. Of course, I had blood everywhere, shaved. So I've got tissue paper everywhere because it's bleeding like a sieve. And somehow I read for him. Somehow I got the part. And that's history. Became a big star after that.
So you're making this nutso movie.
Yes.
That's the only way you can describe it.
Right.
The thing's nuts.
It's crazy.
Do you think okay, this is gonna get out, it'll be fine. Nobody's gonna be talking about this in 40 years.
We had no idea.
Yeah.
Yet here we are.
But that was part of it is you never know anyway how movies are going to be received, but it was also a weird, perfect time where home video was coming into vogue, and cons, nothing on this level of
And
course,
cable
was
is
starting
taking
to
off.
happen.
Yeah.
And cable is coming to the fore. So our movie comes out, it ran for however long as it did, and then it would, by all rights, have been totally forgotten. And then it got on cable, and kids started watching it at home on Saturday nights, and then it just went on and on and on, and then the cons and all of that stuff. So that all happened because it just happened to be released in 1984.
Which was a huge year in film in general.
Well, yes.
For me, it was cable. It was because it was in the early days of cable. There were like 9 movies that just showed in rotation.
Right, yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times I've seen Stroke Race
Right.
or Six Pack.
Yeah.
Because it was all racing movies back then. Which
Yeah.
you race, that's your jam. But then they come to you for a sequel.
They what?
Well, they come to you for a sequel.
Oh, yeah. That was a few years later.
How do you go? How was that called? And you're like,
You
sorry,
know
you went to
this.
what?
Well, it was a welcome call because I had such a good time on the first one. I thought, okay, good, we get to do this again, and we got the whole gang back together except Brian Tochi, who plays Takashi.
Right.
He was doing the police academy, so
Right.
we lost him. But we were able to get Anthony Evers to show up for a few days and shoot all by himself because he wouldn't commit to any more time than that. But at least he's in the movie.
When you look at that cast, because so much has come out of it, you guys have done so many different things.
Yeah.
King of the Nerds, huge fan.
So are we.
Who has the throne of games? I need to know.
I don't have any idea. Not me.
I need the internet to do its job and find the throne of games. Did you guys watch King of the Nerds on
King of the
TBS?
Nerds. Anybody?
Was this not the coolest show? For those of you that don't know, it was a reality game show that these two gentlemen hosted. And if you won, because Game of Thrones was so big then, they had the throne of games. So instead of swords, it was controllers and the zapper from every system you've ever seen in your entire life. Google it, it's amazing.
And we had some of the most amazing people. These kids were astonishing. There are 3 of them now at JPL, working at JPL. They were just phenomenal people and brilliant and quirky and the perfect nerd combinations. We had that for 3 seasons on TBS, and then it went away, which was unfortunate.
Because I wasn't in that.
Actually, there was one time when we were thinking about.
I got
You
called.
remember that? You got a call, and I called you, and you said something like,
Hey, listen, I'm busy. I can't be doing that TV stuff.
so forget it. In fact, we might have still had that show if you had shown up for Winter Holidays.
The logic is sound.
Well, being the big star that I was, I could turn a lot of stuff down.
Yeah,
I'm such a thespian.
That's
What
right.
is that word, thespian?
thespian means
That
like a
sounds weird to
trained
me.
actor.
You like?
Yeah.
You like?
Yeah, what you are.
Yeah, you're a trained actor.
Is
Yeah.
that what that means?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
like
you're a
that?
trained actor.
Oh, okay.
Classically trained.
I get it.
You are. Yeah.
Well, you actually, we talked about this a second ago, you played professional football
Right.
in the same town where you went to college.
Right. San Diego.
San Diego, University of San Diego to the San Diego Superchargers.
Right.
career ends and you're like, oh, let's just go acting. Well, here's a movie called Conan the Barbarian that you get to start with.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I read for a lot of stuff in the beginning, and it was just weird because all of a sudden then I decided to do stunt work and double other guys. So I started doubling other people, and then every once in a while they throw you a line and they call it stunt acting. And so I did a Magnum PI like that. I did, a lot of the shows like that. And, they didn't realize my acting talents at the time.
Classically trained.
Classically trained. As you can tell by watching Ogre, he's a classically trained actor.
Listen, one of my favorite Don Gibb performances, and it's a straight acting gig, and I was so excited when I saw it that I didn't know he'd done it, is on X-Files.
Yes.
He does a bartender on the X-Files. He's got a scene with Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny, and he rocks it. He's doing serious fucking acting. And I was really impressed.
I was
I'm
impressed
sorry,
with myself.
forgive my language.
Thank you so much for that, sir. I've been impressed with most of your work, most of my life. And Bobby's, and Cowboys, and all this other stuff. So you guys are my heroes, and you didn't know it.
Well,
Let's stop it.
Okay. Not really my heroes, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? Ogre doesn't really understand a whole lot of stuff that's going on. So you people need to listen.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite story from filming the first film?
Me?
Whether it's on set, whether it's watching the reactions to everything, do you have, all the three of you, do you have a favorite story from the set?
I think my favorite thing was when we were doing Revenge of the Nerds 2, and they sat me down there, and the guys are all laying down on the ground, and they're talking about the speed of light and all this stuff. And out of nowhere, because I didn't know what to say, so out of nowhere I just thought, what if CET really spelled dog? And they're like, and then when you've been doing a movie for a couple of months, when the crew laughs and has to run away because they're laughing so hard, and the director has to go, what are you doing, cut? You know you're funny. Because those idiots have seen you now for 2 months, and they're like, okay, this guy's an idiot. So when you make them laugh, you're like, okay, this is good.
It's one of the most quotable lines for
Right?
years after that.
I know, I loved it.
But what do you think about that? Let's just focus on the first one. What do you think made that so, even today that people talk
I know,
about
it's
it?
weird.
And kind of how that drove to see you guys. Look at this. This is
I know, it's
amazing.
shocking.
The thing about the first movie is that it had heart.
Nerd.
That it did.
That's what gives it the staying power, in my opinion.
What is it about it?
Heart.
I know.
Yes.
You're right.
The audience feels empathy. That means they feel for us.
Oh, empathy. I got it. I thought they were empty of something.
No.
Empty, empathy, empty.
No, that's cool. Let's talk about that after.
What? They always want to talk to me after. Why is it?
It's usually only when you start jumping to inappropriate conversations.
Oh,
Then I
that.
say, let's talk about this after.
Later, okay.
Right? So, but this wasn't inappropriate. I just interrupted.
But that's
Sure, you know what's funny? What's hilarious here, and Bobby wants to talk sometime, I don't know.
Come on,
Sorry,
speak it up.
Bobby. Sorry, Bobby. But it's funny because people don't remember me throwing the nerds out the window. They remember the nice things. It's just really strange because I used to.
Nice thing.
Well, when I kissed you and stuff like that. Do we have a kissing scene?
No, that was.
Oh, that was in the hotel. Oh. I don't remember a whole lot of stuff back then. There was drugs going on in here. I'm not quite sure what happened for a month. So we weren't kissing in the movie.
No.
Oh, that was in your room.
No.
This might be the easiest panel I've ever hosted because I'm just gonna let you guys go.
We're a bunch of weirdos. I know, we get together, we can.
I got a little bit of it last night, which I think prepared
Right,
for today
yeah.
at the talent show because you guys were riffing and it was brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay, thank you so much.
I'm broken right now. But again, 3 different paths. Here we are, 40 years later, and you're affecting multiple generations, and you're doing these shows. Has there been a moment at a show where you're at your table and something that has a moment where somebody came up and told you a story that just blew your mind?
Yes.
Please tell us.
You tell us.
Simon says you can tell us.
Talk
Now?
Yes, please.
No, I was at my table, and this guy comes up, and he's very shy. and he just wanted me to know that he drove for 9 hours to meet me, and that I saved his life. I said, what? He said, yeah, your movie saved my life.
Really?
Pretty good.
Well, it's because, you know, guys like me, I was a tiny kid, and it told us, like, okay, maybe things are going to be okay because you're going to find people that you fit in with. And you're going to have that thing in common. Now, did we write a song and perform it on Fort Lauderdale Beach with fireworks and stuff? We did not.
Right.
But it's movies like that, and you kind of, one of you has a little crossover with another big 80s property as a couple of episodes of the television version of Weird Science.
Yeah,
it was
so did that.
movies, it was those kind of movies that told us that eventually it's going to be okay.
It's okay.
And now here we are, all of this stuff being the cool thing now.
Yeah.
And you guys get to do these shows.
I hate to one up Bobby, but I probably had like 16 or 17 people tell me they say their movies.
But not the ones she threw out the window.
I'm sorry, that's a lie. That's a big ass lie. But I wanted to one up you. You know when you tell somebody you had an accident and they have a better one? That's what I like to do.
You know what I mean?
16 or 16,000 people may have come to me and told me I saved their life.
You talked earlier about his performance in the X-Files. Do you guys have other performances of each other's that stand out to you when you see each other that you talk about outside of it? Can we say franchise? Because I think four films we can say franchise.
Curtis already mentioned Risky Business, but I love you in that movie, man.
I know, you were awesome.
You killed it. Thank you. Thank you. Guido, the color pimp. Guido, the color pimp.
But I think you did the Domino's commercial for Risky Business. That's how I thought you were great.
Well, that was a funny thing. We did, I got approached to do, they were doing for Domino's, they were doing a commercial where they got this guy. If you've seen Risky Business, you might remember Tom Cruise does this dance in his underwear to Bob Seger's song, Old Time Rock and Roll. So they got a guy, designed a house to look exactly like the house, got the rights from Bob Seger's song, did the whole routine, got it all choreographed exactly like Tom did it, and then they thought at the end, the doorbell rings and I'm at the door delivering pizza, which is a little uncomfortably close to where my career was at the time. And, but I swallowed my pride as we always do and said, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Ah, those were the days and all that. And so we went in and did it, and it was phenomenal. The guy was incredible. Everything about it was perfect, shot by shot, exactly like in Risky Business. And then they started to air it, and I thought, this is where, you know, once it starts running. Well, then the pandemic comes, and they realize that they have to do new commercials that don't show contact delivery. They can't have somebody showing up at the house and handing in the pizza because no one's showing up to anyone's house. So they kept running the commercial for months, but at the very moment that he goes to answer the door, they cut to, and now, contactless delivery.
We need the, now that we're on the other side, we need the original cut of that back.
Yeah, no, that was it.
But also your work in Rain.
My work in
Yes,
Rain
sir.
was different.
Absolutely great.
Thank you.
And Aquila and the Bee.
And Aquila and the Bee. Yeah.
And of course,
But
Bobby
those are
here.
all,
He's a classically trained
And of
actor.
course, Bobby here in Cowboys with John Wayne.
but Big Red One for
Yes.
me, and also the Long Riders.
Yes,
they
Is
were
another
brilliant.
big Bobby Carradine favorite of mine. And we were really working, I sounded like Brian now, but we were working actors at the time, and still are, and we do
Right.
these things, we were way too old for these parts, and yet we were hired to do them. We had a, background of experience, so we brought something to it and continued afterwards. We were really, really lucky to do this movie and to have it strike a chord with so many people. It's been very lucky.
Capital One, Don. Capital One.
Those were fun.
Yes.
Not a whole lot of acting, but you know, a lot of money.
That's the dream.
What's in your wall? That's all you have to do, and you walk home and you get paid on Friday. Thank you very much.
We want to make sure we get your questions, so make sure you stand up over here and I will come to you. And as we have somebody here, I'm going to ask a question that's head over there.
Okay.
What do you do to get away from it? When you need to just get away from the business for a little while, is there some a specific activity that you like to go to that helps you kind of recenter and then get back in the deep end of the pool?
I'm always ready.
Hey, stay ready, you gotta get ready,
He
right?
rides his bike, I ride my Harley, I crash. And what do you do? Nothing. Read paper,
Yeah.
sell books,
Yeah.
nerd stuff.
I have a question. What's your name? Lindsay, what's your question?
So I know that several jokes are often covers to write and also land. So in the opening scene, when Lewis goes to the Gilbert and has the pulled up, how many iterations of that scene existed by the time it was finished?
How many takes for the opening scene from the first one?
The opening scene is them. Is Bobby.
Yeah.
Oh, how many times did we do that?
Yeah.
That was a wonder.
Was it? Was it
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Stop the landing on the first drop.
Wow.
Yeah.
One take, Robert.
That's what they call it. That's a great question. Get some love for that question, you guys.
Good question.
Looks like we got another one. Come on this side of the speaker so you'll feedback. What's your name, sir? Steve, what's your question?
Robert, since you did the big role, did you get more respect from Lee Marvin than the other actors did? Because the other actors said Lee Marvin was like really condescending.
Really mean?
Yeah.
No, Lee Marvin was not mean. He's a gentle giant, just like Don.
Was he a good guy?
Very good guy. I remember one time, he rarely had a day off on the film, but one day he was on the set. He didn't have to be on the set, and he's sitting in a tan suit with a straw hat under an umbrella in a chair, just watching us film. And I walked up to him and I said, "Lee, what are you doing here? It's your day off." He says, "Kid, the set's where it's at." So I told that story to an actor, Tom Selleck, and now he tells that story to other people.
Does he?
Yeah, he loves it.
Does he do the thing where, like, the first time he says, "Tell me this story," and then the second time, he's like, "I heard this story," and I was like, "I have this story."
So he gives me credit.
Okay, good.
Yeah. This is Bobby Carradine told me a story about Lee Marvin. He says where it's at.
All right, we have another question. What's your name? What's your question?
I just want to know your lowest laugh.
She wants to hear the Lewis laugh.
Yeah! Pretty cool.
Is there a story behind it, or just do it and land it?
No, the script said that Lewis had a honking laugh. So, being a procrastinator, I didn't really put a lot of thought into it until about the day before we're going to shoot. And I realized I still didn't have the laugh. And I told the director, Jeff Kanew, "Hey man, I don't know what to do about this laugh." He says, "Well, here, watch this." And he put in a video cassette of James Cromwell doing his audition, and he did the laugh. And we were kind of having a kickoff party. And I went over to James and I said, "Hey man, your laugh is really damaged." He said, "That's not my laugh, I came up with that." I said, "Oh really, it's a technique?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Show it to me, show it to me." So he taught me how to do the laugh the night before we shot the scene where we're coming to Adams College, got the cruise control locked on 35. Yeah.
James Cromwell taught you that. My mental image of James Cromwell.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Come on, reserve feedback. What's your name?
Justin.
Justin, what you got?
So I can recall vividly going to Blockbuster with my parents and picking up the first Nerds movie and coming home with it. And what I'm thinking in my head, and I know my wife does too, do you guys recognize how many people from our generation saw booze for the first time?
The question everybody wants to know, and this man is not afraid to ask.
Okay, so here's the thing about some of those boobs. The scene where we've got the sorority house wired for video, there's a girl that reveals everything, and he says we want Bush, hand down. But it turned out that girl was the projectionist's daughter. And the projectionist is running the film after we shoot. There's a thing called dailies. So the day after we shoot, you look at the film and make sure you got everything. he sees his daughter stripped naked, and he walked out of the booth. We had to find another guy to do the film. Wow.
First time I saw them.
What's your name?
My name is Gilbert.
Gilbert Scott.
I just wonder, how many times young guys playing and watching people come up and quote the movie to you? There's so many quotable lines, me and my friends all the time. You know, is it good or is it great? It's like, and it's always, well, thank you, Lewis. Different folks and all the time. And here's for you, how did you like working as far as us, for people who are American as well, as Metatron and Supernaturals?
Well, I mean, Metatron was one of those things where they needed a bad guy, but they needed a bad guy who could be funny too. And I think that's how that happened. Was someone just came up with the idea that it would be. It may have been the writer decided, suggested me. So I didn't know Supernatural. I went in and read for it and got it. But with Nerds, it was one of those movies that is so quotable, it's ridiculous. It's just endless quotes. And some of them were in the script, some of them were written later, some of them were improvised on the set. There was a lot of that. And it all just came together. It was kind of an amazing event.
It was an alchemy.
It was an alchemy, as Robert would put it.
I listen to the Bob and Tom show out of Indianapolis, and they still play clips from that show, that film, at least once a month.
Really?
Especially that scene. And it's just the phenomenon that it's becoming. It is
Yeah, it's amazing.
what's it?
Princess Bride.
Oh, we have these.
Hi, Princess.
Love your movie. Which person?
I want to know who remember this line, which everyone also says. Everybody quiet. We're Lambda,
Big move.
I thought it sucked.
That was written by Larry B.
Just
Scott.
me.
That whole rap.
How about filming that whole sequence? Because there was a lot going on. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I think it took a couple of days.
It took a long time.
I agree. It was like, and they were night shoots. We got to a point where we had to shoot everything at night for the panty raid and for the talent contest and all of that. All wound up getting mixed in together, and we did the talent contest with all of that stuff.
That was a while.
Yeah.
It took a while.
It took a long time. And also, little thing, Booger is dressed as Elvis Presley in that there's no sense to why he would be dressed. I mean, why Elvis Presley? And there's no reference to it until when Larry says, Booger Presley on lead guitar, and around, and I'm sitting down, it's in my head. But what had happened was, they had said to me, Booger was going to do lip sync. Can you imagine what a bad idea this would have been? Booger was going to lip sync Elvis Presley doing one of the songs. I can't remember which one. And they gave me the first VCR player I'd ever seen. Never had seen one before. I had it in my hotel room with a VHS tape of Elvis Presley doing this number. And I had to learn everything. How, the expression and all the body movements and all of that. So with the night of the talent competition, we would start with that. So we get to the night of the talent competition, and Jeff Kanew and Peter Three Names, our producer, comes to me and says, "Can we talk to you?" And they said, "We don't have time. We're out of time. We can't do the Elvis Presley number because we've run out of time. So if you want to film it, we understand, but I just want you to know it will never be in the movie." And I said, "But we've already filmed me in the Elvis Presley album." I went, "Yeah."
Another thing that has lasted this long.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, actually, he's been at a couple of cons. I mean, screenings of the movie. I was at one with him last year, and no.
I saw one the other day that was him on The Price is Right, and he had bid $2 on something. That's still going. So we're getting close to time, and I always like to reserve the end of it for shameless self-promotion. Where can people, past today when they come see you at the table and the shaking of the hands and the kissing of the babies, where can they find you on the web? Where can they get in contact with you, things of that nature?
Instagram, the Robert Carradine.
There we go.
Twitter, still, in spite of it all. Curtis is Booger, easy to remember.
And on Twitter, I'm Bobby as Lewis.
But he's never on Twitter, so don't buy
I don't know how to work it.
Nobody can find me except if you, there's a bridge in Detroit that I sleep under when my wife gets pissed off. So if you guys come to Detroit, you'll probably be able to find me. But other than that, I don't do any of that social media garbage.
But we got to see you here today.
Right, I'm here today for all you
Ladies and
people.
gentlemen, one more time. Go see them at their table. Get your personal questions answered. Get your autographs. Get your pictures. The professional pictures upstairs. Thank you, gentlemen, so much.